Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you are doing fine and enjoying good health. In today's session, we would talk about the significance of English as a language for Pakistani users. English, as you know, has attained the status of a global language, which also serves as a digital language. It is utilized in academic scenarios as a medium of instruction. It is the language of trade as well as e-commerce. E-commerce nowadays takes help of English as a language for its growth. This language is also used in jobs. For seeking jobs, interviews, and written comprehension tests are conducted in this particular language. So, this language, as you can see before you, has greater and wider significance. So, there are various trends of fashion. As a fashion, English language can be utilized. Pakistan's communication most of the time at official level and at the levels where transaction or business is conducted is in this particular language. It is the language of correspondence, like emails and letters are transmitted through this language. In official channels, this language is utilized. It has a historical background, which we would talk in detail. It is also the language of power. In academic circle, it is used as a main source of transaction of day-to-day business. And one of the important business is medium of instruction. It is the language of business, language of commerce, e-commerce, freelancing, internet, and language of technology. So let's look at all these aspects in detail. First of all, let's go to the historical context. Why and how this particular language, English, has attained or sustained the greater significance as a mode of communication. As you are all familiar that this particular continent, subcontinent, which was ruled after the arrival of East India Company for nearly 2 centuries, English people, colonizers, stayed in this particular land. So British rulers ruled this area of Indo-Pak subcontinent. English administrators replaced English as a language of official matters from Persian, the language that was used earlier by the natives for official correspondence. So English replaced Persian language. In doing so, English language attained the high status as compared to the other languages. The elites and the educated people accepted English as a standard language and began using it in all affairs. So, English sustained its value because it was accepted by the gentry, by the elite class, and by the people who are in power. So those people stayed in power even after departure of the Britishers, all the bureaucracy, all the ruling elite. They were the ones who knew English, and they are the ones who know English, and they ruled this particular land. And most of, if you have a closer look, most of the families that were richer before Pakistan are still among the elite people, among the elite groups who are ruling. So the ruling elite utilized and accepted this language, and that is why it has attained the structure of power and it has attained the symbolic significance of a language which is associated with the elite people or with the rulers. It is the language, as you can see, utilized for global purposes, for global transaction. People use this language for international communication. It is the only spoken language understood worldwide. It enjoys a special place among the languages of the globe. More than 1800 million people of the world use this language for communication, whereas in Pakistan, about 16 million people use English as a means of communication. So, while looking at the global significance and comparing it with the domestic importance, the language has retained a greater value or strength as far as communication is concerned. So, this language is utilized in various other purposes. One of the significant purpose of transaction of English as a language is tourism and travel. International trade and commerce are conducted this particular language vis-a-vis English. People, including the travelers, tourists, travel guides, and advertising agencies, use English for communication. It is also the language of international air traffic control for correspondence among the pilots with the airport authorities. So, when you meet tourists, even from the area or the region that are non English, or that whose language is not English, rather, English is used as a second or third language in those countries. For instance, people of European background, such as Spanish people, or German people, French people, or Arabian people, or even the people of Egyptian, Turkish background. So, whenever you meet such people and the travelers here in Pakistan as well, so you have no other option to talk to them or communicate to them but in English language. So, English as a language of tourism is highly significant because there is no other alternative for you to talk to a people belonging from Arabian region. So the only source of communication is English because their Urdu is not fluent and our Arabic is not fluent. So our common ground is language which is known as English language. So this is also the language of diplomacy. It also serves the language of diplomacy among diplomats of various nations. As you can see, it is among the language used in the United Nations organization, and also other languages are translated in English for people to understand at the forum of UNO. So you can see the examples of various prime ministers of Pakistan who talked in UN sessions. They used English as a language for communication. All our diplomats, all our high commissions, they use English as a language. Even our websites of these high commissions situated in various other countries, if you have a look at them, their websites also display messages in English as a language. So when diplomats are using it as a language, when our foreign office talks in this particular language, so this language would surely retain its status, value, and significance. Another important example of world literature where you see that a large body of literature is produced in English as a language, people who are not from the background of English, rather they belong to another background, and which this type of background where you see that the language of the native people would be some other language, rather they would write in the English language. For example, a large body of world literature is produced in English, The literature created in native languages is translated into English language in order to reach to larger readership. So there are examples of Arundhati Roy's works, as you can see, that God of Small Things, or The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, or Azadi. So those works are written in English. Likewise, many other Indian writers, for instance, Aravinda Diga, his novels are written in English. Kiran Desai, Anita Desai, or many other writers who have written in English language. Likewise, Paulo Coelho's Latin American novelist, his novels are available in English language. Many Pakistani writers also write in English. For instance, one of the significant writers, Tawfiq Rafat, who is known as the father of Pakistani poetry, writes in English language. Similarly, you can find other poets such as Waqas Khaja, Daud Kamal, Aisha Daud, and other short story writers such as Tariq Rahman, Beena Shah, Athar Tahir. Likewise, there are many novelists such as Mohsin Hamid, Kamila Shamsi, Muhammad Hanif, Hanif Qureshi, Shaila Abdullah, whose works are easily available in English language. So the writers write in English language in order to gain the readership of the wider spectrum, the global readership. They attract after writing their works in English language. So English as a language of literature is created or sustained here through literature as well, which is created or produced in English. Next, it is the official language which is used for official purposes. In today's Pakistan, English language serves as an official language, be it official matter or letter or office memorandum. It is the English that is preferred for correspondence. Communication with emails within organization is done through English preferably. Similarly, the call for meeting or letters to individuals is performed in English letters. Most of the job applications are filled in English. English as an official language is used both in public and private sector. Here you can also see the significance of English in official matters. Academic language in Pakistan. Urdu is the national language of Pakistan. It is spoken and understood all over the country. Despite Urdu as the first language, for many people, oh, Punjabi as the first language, or Pashto as the first language, English is taught in our educational institutes, including schools and colleges from class 1 to graduate level as a compulsory subject. Now, the question arises, why should we study English? Because the answer can be found in that Pakistan, up to intermediate level, here in Pakistan, the medium of instruction is Urdu, whereas in the higher education, the students face the changed medium to English. Such examples can be seen in medical colleges, engineering colleges, banking training institutes, where English is the only medium of instruction, and the learners or the trainee graduates, they are demanded to learn this particular language and attain fluency and proficiency in English as a medium, which the bosses would like these individuals to attain the kind of expertise in English as a language so that they could attract more and more customer and transact their business in an efficient manner. So mode of examination, which you can see, this is also an important aspect that promotes English as a language. The importance of English in educational sector can be witnessed from the fact that the examination of higher levels in Pakistan are conducted through medium of English. Such examinations where English as a medium is utilized include CSS, PCS, Federal Provincial Public Service Commission tests, banking diploma, Army, Air Force, Navy enrollment tests. So when you see that the gazetted posts most of them, they want the applicants to express themselves as far as written communication or oral communication is concerned in English language. So job interviews are conducted in English language. So the mode of examination of testing these particular individual is English as a language. So its importance can't be denied as far as academic purposes are concerned. Likewise, you can see that language of technology, which technology prefers and people of tech background, they utilize is English. Modern age is the age of information technology and computer. Scientists and technicians prefer to install English language for the usage of these gadgets with intentions to attract maximum number of users. About 80% of all the information stored in computer is in English. Even if you run an Urdu program, you will have to give command in English in order to install it and in order to run the program efficiently on your gadget. So technology utilizes and promotes this language. That is why its value and significance is retained for a longer period of time and would retain in the near and the distant future. English would use the online sources, and that is why the online sources which nowadays are available in every pocket with every individual in the form of mobile phones or in the form of laptops, the facility of internet and online sources of knowledge are available in English language mostly. Local languages so far have very minimum amount of utility of online resources and databases. Similarly, the application of emails and social networking websites like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp use English language preferably as a medium of utility. In such conditions, English as a language remains at usage to a large extent when compared to other regional languages. So here you can see that the local and the regional languages, they do not perform very well as far as functioning of these online social networking websites or online social networking applications are concerned, where English stays in power, where English stays in utility, and where English stays in functioning of these particular application. So that is why the significance of English is growing more with each day. As you know, another important aspect of survival of human being is commerce. So business, and nowadays most of the businesses are transferred to e-commerce or digital platforms. So while English may not be the native language of many people across the world, it is universally accepted as the lingua franca for international commerce. Business must communicate efficiently, and English provides a common platform for global communication that allows for seamless operation. So here you can see that how businesses thrive and survive because of e-commerce. You can see that how various businesses such as cab services here in Pakistan, InDrive, Yango, Uber, or many others, they utilize English as a language for correspondence and communication between the driver and between the individuals who book those particular services or who utilize these particular services in the form of customers or in the form of the you could see tenants. So English as e-commerce can be seen utilized in other online digital sources such as Daraz, Alibaba, Amazon. So all these businesses and many numerous businesses which are flourishing due to the digital influx and utility of internet and information technology. So businesses are flourishing and they utilize English as a language for the promotion of their businesses. Likewise, cultures and countries, you could see because of its global reach, and recognition, English has become increasingly important in facilitating communication between different cultures, countries, and businesses. So, becoming the ideal for facilitating international workflows. So, English as a kind of, you could see, source of interaction between various cultures, between people of various regions or continents, serves as a tool of understanding, of sharing ideas, beliefs, knowledge, businesses, and all types of social transactions that occur between those groups of people. So, where one group coming from one particular background talks or communicates to another group coming from an entirely different and distinct background, such as African people would talk to Asian or the European people utilizing this particular language, which is known as English language as a mode of communication. English as a second language. As such, you can see that English as a second language has attained the status almost with every second individual in this world. As such, many individuals choose to learn English as a second language for greater opportunities at home and abroad. With proper instruction, even non native speakers have an excellent chance of mastering the language in their lifetime, thereby becoming catalyst for progress in their respective communities. So, while learning the language or after learning the language, you have many chances to strive or to stay successful in your own community, in your own region, or within your own city. So, if you can communicate very well, if you can talk very well in English language as a second language, then you can use this particular language for your own personal growth and development. That is why you see that most of the universities offer courses such as TEFL, teaching of English as a foreign language, or TESOL, teaching of English as a second language, or many other diplomas are offered, such as diplomas of advanced diploma or certification, or you could see IELTS is done, or the certification is done in English language. So those types of certifications help individuals to stay or to keep this particular language as a second language in fashion or in practice. So you can see that how we use English as a language for international communities when we communicate with each other interculturally, when we are talking to each other in intercultural communication. It is used as a language for market globalization, and where we as an individual part of the world which is cosmopolitan or global or digital, where we talk and interact with each other using English language. So culturally diverse people communicate with each other using English as a language. So it is the language that promotes your culture, your cultural identity, your norms, your values, and your traditions, and also it helps you in your promotion of the subculture. For instance, Pakistan has a bigger culture as well as known as the Pakistani culture, but within that particular culture, there are various subcultures such as known as Kashmiri culture, Balochi culture, Sindhi culture, Gilgiti culture, Pahadi culture, or Seraiki culture, and there are also other sub regional cultures that differ from places to places. So this session uh, mm, takes into consideration about significance of English as a language for international and global communication, and Pakistani users need to know about these facts and need to attain mastery in this particular language in order to excel in their own background. So if you have any question, query, or comment, you can ask me or you can reach me out in comment section uh, in this at the end of this particular video, or below this particular section, which will be labeled as comment section. So stay tuned, stay happy, stay blessed, and keep others easy and happy. Jazakallah.